Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with another combo guide slash deck primer. I'm actually going to start by showing you two lines for Fiendsmith Azamina White Forest. I'm going to show you how to incorporate Fiendsmith into an Elzette line, and then I'm also going to show you how we can take a Fiendsmith card and start into our White Forest plays. So if you have Elzette plus any spell or trap card, we can go activate Elzette's effect, send that spell or trap card from our hand to the graveyard in order to special summon. Now, we can add Sylvie of the White Forest from our deck to our hand. Let's normal summon Sylvie, and then we're going to activate her effect in order to add Tales of the White Forest from our deck to our hand. After that, we can synchro summon into Racila, Sinister Soul of the White Forest, by using our two monsters on field, and then on summon, we're going to activate her effect. That will allow us to send the Tails in order to add another White Forest card. We're going to add the new field spell, Witch of the White Forest. Now, I know I already have a copy in my hand, but for the sake of this combo, let's pretend I did not open that, and that's another hand trap. Adding the field spell, this will trigger the Tails effect since it got sent off the Synchro monster, and now we can set it face down onto the field. We're going to then immediately activate Tails in order to add Elzette Azamina of the White Forest from our deck to our hand. Now, we are going to activate Elzette Azamina's effect and special summon her from our hand to the field. After which point, we can synchro summon into Diabelle, Queen of the White Forest, using these two monsters. If you're familiar with White Forest plays even before the new support, this part of the combo line probably looks pretty familiar to you. We're going to go Chainlink 1 Elzette Azamina because she adds from deck to hand, and then Chainlink 2 Diabelle because she adds from grave to hand. It's less likely to get disrupted. You could add back Tails, or you could also add back the initial spell or trap card you sent off of Elzette, which really kind of makes this a one-card combo. Like, yeah, you have to have the spell or trap card, but you do immediately get recouped on that resource. Well, not immediately, but a little bit later on in the combo line, you get recouped on that resource. Off of the Elzette Azamina, we're going to add Deception of the Sinful Spoils from our deck to our hand. And now we are going to activate our Deception. We're going to use Deception. This will require us to have another monster in our hand to send, but we can just get rid of this Foolos. And now we can add the Hallowed Azamina from our deck to our hand. Let's activate Hallowed Azamina. And now we can summon Murashilago by sending away Deception. Alright, Murashilago's effect is going to activate on summon. We're going to use that in order to add Wanted from our deck to our hand. And then we're going to activate Sylvie in our graveyard. We're going to use that in order to put back Racila from our graveyard to our extra deck, and then special summon Sylvie. Now we can synchro summon using Sylvie plus the Murashilago in order to get a Baron de Fleur in play, which will of course protect you from any later hand traps your opponent may have. Okay, at this point we can go ahead and also activate the graveyard effect of the Hallowed Azamina. We're going to put Elzette Azamina of the White Forest back into our deck, and then that will get added back to our hand. Alright, for this next sequence, we're going to go activate Hallowed Azamina, and then you want to chain Wanted to the activation. This will not only allow you to use Wanted to add the Diabelle Star Witch of the Black Forest, this one, the level 7 one, from deck to hand, but now we can still use Hallowed Azamina to summon Ilia Sylvia by sending away the Wanted, since it's still on the field. Again, if you've played White Forest before, you're probably pretty familiar with all this at this point. Let's go ahead and use the graveyard effect of Wanted in order to draw a card by putting back the Deception. And then now we can special summon Diabelle Star, and we don't lose out on any advantage because we just drew a card. So even if you like every card in your hand, you can just get rid of whatever card you drew. Okay, here's Diabelle Star. We're going to special summon and then activate the effect. We're going to use that in order to set Sinful Spoils of Slumber Morian from our deck face down onto the field. Now we're done special summoning dark monsters from the extra deck, so we can activate Witch of the White Forest, the field spell. We're going to add Diabelle's, the White Witch from deck to hand, the new Diabelle's monster. We can actually summon Diabelle's using our face down Morian, because we can just reset it here after we activate Diabelle's effect. Or you could do it right now even. It doesn't really matter what point you do that. Alright, Morian resets itself to the field. Diabelle's is going to send Curse of Diabelle from our deck to the graveyard. That way the effect activates and allows us to add the Filia Diabelle from our deck to our hand. But you're probably wondering, what about the Fiendsmith part of this combo line? Well, we can actually still go into it, because remember, Witch of the White Forest only locks us out of dark summons from the extra deck. So we're going to use Diabelle Star plus Diabelle's in order to take Moon of the Closed Heaven. Then, of course, we can go into Requiem from Moon. Let's go Fiendsmith Requiem's effect. And we're going to special summon Lacrima from our deck. Lacrima effect is going to activate. We're going to send an Engraver. And then we can activate Engraver, putting back Moon, and then special summoning. After this, of course, we're going to link off Lacrima plus Engraver into the sequence. And then we'll activate the sequence in order to fusion summon. We're going to fuse the Requiem plus Lacrima into Fiendsmith's Lacrima, which will, of course, activate. We can use the effect in order to special summon. And at this point, we're going to overlay into Caesar using our 2 level 6 mods. Beautiful. All right. Still not done yet. We can still activate the Filia Diabelle, and then we'll use that in order to add Diabelle Star Vengeance to our hand. And then finally, we're going to special summon Diabelle Star Vengeance by banishing Filia Diabelle and Curse of Diabelle from our graveyard. Of course, we can activate Filia Diabelle, which will buff a couple of our monsters. And there you go. That is our end board for the Fiendsmith line. Well, the Fiendsmith White Forest line. Also, as always, I say as always because I feel like I'm always using their videos. Huge shout out to Moha, who I got this end board in this line from. Definitely very, very good duelist, White Forest player especially, and overall very knowledgeable source. I'm going to link that video in the description below. But I do have a combo line that was not featured in that video. I'm going to show you how we can start from Fiendsmith stuff and then go into this new White Forest board with the new stuff on the end board as well. So let's take a look at that line. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to go from Fiendsmith stuff into White Forest combo line. And we're even going to start with Fabled Lurrie. I see a lot of people say they don't like playing Fabled Lurrie as part of their Fiendsmith package because it feels really bricky, but that's actually just not true. Fabled Lurrie is 1-card full White Forest combo. All we need is another spell or trap card, but like the last line, we're actually going to end up adding this spell or trap card back later off of Diabelle, making Fabled Lurrie pretty much just a 1-card full White Forest board here. We're going to normal summon Fabled Lurrie and then go into Fiendsmith's Requiem, which that is probably the biggest drawback of opening Lurrie, is that you have to commit a normal summon to it, but that's true of a lot of 1-card starters anyway. Alright, we're going to go activate Requiem effect. And then we are going to special summon Fiendsmith's Lacrima. We're going to go activate Lacrima effect in order to send Engraver from our deck to the graveyard. Now we're going to go activate Engraver, and we're going to want to put specifically Fabled Lurrie back into our deck. It's going to be very important here in a little bit. Okay, now that we've got our 2 monsters in play, we're going to go into sequence. And let's activate our sequence effect. Fusion summoning. We're going to summon Fiendsmith's Lacrima using Fiendsmith's Requiem and Lacrima the Crimson Tears as material. Alright, now we're going to summon Fiendsmith's Lacrima and activate the effect. We're going to target Engraver. However, we are going to click no. We do not want to special summon Fiendsmith Engraver to the field. We're going to instead add it back to our hand. That way we can activate Engraver from our hand in order to add Fiendsmith's Tract from deck to hand. This is very important. You're going to see why in a second. We're going to activate Tract, and that's going to let us get the Lurrie that we put back, which again, that's why we put that back earlier. Now we can discard Fabled Lurrie. And now we can activate Fabled Lurrie's effect in order to special summon. From here, we are going to link into Sprite Sprint using exactly Fabled Lurrie plus Fiendsmith Sequence. We can go activate Sprite Sprint effect, and we're going to send a Stellar of the White Forest from our deck to the graveyard. Now we're going to activate the graveyard effect of Fiendsmith's Tract. This is why we needed to search it off of the engraver, so we could fuse again. We're going to fusion summon Fiendsmith's Rextremend, and we're going to use the Fiendsmith's Lacrima plus Sprite Sprint in order to do that. Alright, we can go Chainlink 1 Rextremend, discarding exactly the spell or trap card in your hand. And then we're going to go Chainlink 2 Fiendsmith's Lacrima. We can just put back Fabled Lurrie again. Just make sure that you're leaving Fiendsmith Sequence in the graveyard. That's very important that that stays in the graveyard. We'll just put back Lurrie here. Alright, Lacrima burns, but more importantly, Rextremend is going to send... We can just send Lacrima the Crimson Tears. That's actually not important. What was important is that we sent a spell or trap card to activate a monster's effect, which means we can now trigger the effect of a Stellar of the White Forest in our graveyard in order to special summon her. Now, we need to activate the effect of Sequence from our graveyard, which is why we kept it in there, to equip to Rextremend. And then we can use a Stellar's effect to send the equipped Sequence in order to special summon Sylvie of the White Forest from our deck. Now we can activate Sylvie effect in order to add Tales of the White Forest from our deck to our hand. And this is how we slip into the White Forest line. We go into Resila using Sylvie plus a Stellar. And then now we can activate the on-summon effect of Resila, sending the Tales in order to add Witch of the White Forest from our deck to our hand. Tales effect then activates in order to set itself. And then we activate Tales. Now, Tales is going to actually end up searching Elzette Azamina of the White Forest, like the last combo line. Here in this hand, I already opened it, so I guess, I don't know, I'll just grab a regular Elzette, but you would grab Elzette Azamina of the White Forest with Tales. Now we can activate Elzette Azamina of the White Forest, special summoning herself from our hand. And then we're going to synchro into Diabel using Resila and Elzette Azamina. Diabel, Queen of the White Forest, is going to summon, and then we're going to go Chainlink 1 Elzette, and then Chainlink 2 Diabel. To be fair, if your opponent had Ash Blossom, they would have used it a long time ago, but... and this is how we can actually add back that original spell or trap card that we sent off of the Rextremend. So Diabel adds that back. And now we can go Elzette Azamina in order to add Deception. We're going to go activate Deception of the Sinful Spoils, and then we're going to use the effect. We can actually distribute our Fiendsmith's Rextremend. We really don't need it anymore. And then we're going to add the Hallowed Azamina from our deck to our hand. This will also trigger the effect of Fiendsmith's Rextremend. And now we can actually add the banished Fiendsmith's Tract back to our hand. Another reason why it's actually good to tribute the Rextremend there. We're going to go activate Hallowed Azamina. And we're going to summon Murashilago by getting rid of the Deception. Now, on summon, Murashilago effect will activate. And we're going to add Wanted from our deck to our hand. Now we can use the graveyard effect of Sylvie, putting back the Resila in the graveyard. Special summoning her, and that will then allow us to synchro summon into Baron de Fleur. And there's that. First Omni Negate on the board. Alright, let's go graveyard effect of Hallowed Azamina. We can put Elzette Azamina back into our deck. And just like last time, we're going to go Chainlink 1, Hallowed Azamina, Chainlink 2, Wanted. Now this will allow us to add the Diabel Star, the Black Witch, the level 7 one. And then Hallowed Azamina summons Ilia Sylvia by sending away the Wanted. I'm actually going to summon Ilia Sylvia to the extra monster zone because we're going to need some space here later on. Alright, here we can once again go for the Wanted draw. by putting back the Deception. And then now we can special summon Diabellstar. And if you really like every single other card in your hand, you can always just send away that Fiendsmith's Tract that you added off of the Rextraman. That's why that was really good. Alright, here's Diabellstar. Diabellstar effect is going to activate. We're going to set Morian from our deck face down onto the field. And at this point, we can go into our Witch of the White Forest, the field spell. We're going to use that in order to add the Diabells, the White Witch, from our deck to our hand. And then we can activate Diabells, sending away our face down Morian in order to special summon. So let us activate the effect of Diabells, and then we can also use Morian's effect in order to reset. So there's the Morian again, and then Diabells is going to send Curse of Diabell, which of course on activation will allow us to add Filia Diabell from deck to hand. Finally, we're going to activate our Filia Diabell. We're going to take the Diabellstar Vengeance, and then special summon by banishing our two Diabell spell or trap cards, Filia Diabell and Curse of Diabell, from our graveyard. And finally, we can give our field a nice little buff here. Now, in my extra deck, I don't quite have room for SP Little Knight. So if you are, playing this a little bit differently and cutting something in order to play Little Knight, what you could have done instead of putting Ilia Sylvia in the spell trap zone is put it in a main monster zone and then use Diabellstar plus Diabells to make SP Little Knight. That is another way to add even more disruption to your end board, but like I said, I'm actually trying to do a lot in this extra deck, and I actually don't have room for Little Knight, but I think you could find room. It's just a matter of all the stuff I want to do in this build. But yeah, so that's how you can end on, like I said, full White Forest board, and all we needed was Fabled Lurrie plus a spell or trap card, and we even got to add that spell or trap card back. So Fabled Lurrie might look like a brick, but even that from your Fiendsmith line, any one of your Fiendsmith cards, even Lurrie, can end on this full White Forest board. The main difference is that if you open Engraver, you just add Tract, and then when you go into Fiendsmith's Lacrima later, you can summon Engraver instead of adding it, because you will already have Tract in your graveyard. Okay, there are the combo lines I wanted to show off, but I also wanted to show off like what to do, in some other situations. So we're going to actually pivot over to some live gameplay with this build. Alright, here on Master Ranked Ladder, we're going to dive right on in so I can show you some more nuanced examples of how to play this deck as well, as opposed to just, oh boy, the rank down mirror, as opposed to, always having the perfect opening combo line. Okay, we're going second here, so let's see if we can push through whatever they've got and get that dub. Or maybe we can just open like enough hand traps to stop them. Okay, we've got Fua, double Fua, and Imperm. Definitely not bad. Let's see what they do. Okay, that summons from deck. Also, Tachyon is interesting, so they're gonna try to do the triple counter trap on me. That's what this deck does going first. No Ash Blossom, no Callby, no Crossout, double Fua resolves. Which is going to make it really hard for them to do, like, literally any amount of comboing here without giving me just way too much advantage. Wow, Maxi too, that's brutal. I should have activated Maxi. Send a... Maybe I shouldn't actually, because they might not go into an Xyz summon here. Okay, sending from deck to graveyard, that's fine. And add a Photon or Galaxy spell or trap card, sure. I might wait, because they might try to do a special summon that's not from the deck or extra deck, and then I could maybe get them on that with the Max Eternal Galaxy, huh? Target Xyz monster you control, special summon, a rank up. Okay, they're just going to go into... Oh, they tribute summoned. Adds a Tachyon spell or trap card. Alright, I'm going to imperm that. Alright. Let's see. If you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, target an Xyz monster you control, and then what? Rank it up 4 ranks? Okay, so that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. Alright. Okay, so we have Lacrima and Sylvie, both in our hand here. And another Sylvie. It's not a great top deck. Okay, I don't have to control anything to be able to turn something face down. Since I have 2 Sylvie, I think I'm going to lead by normal summoning one of them. Although Lacrima would get me into more extensive plays. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to summon the Lacrima. Because even if this gets negated, I can still link into Requiem. This is the better play. Excuse me. Alright, send Engraver. Good. Now let's go into Requiem. Okay, they do have a live effect, which wouldn't be the Eternal Galaxy that they added, because again, they would need an Xyz monster in play to be able to use that. Alright, before we do anything else, I'm gonna go for Engraver effect to see if I can force whatever this card they have is. Unless it can't be destroyed or something. Or can't be targeted. No, it's fine. Okay, alright, so that's good. That's out of the way. Return Lacrima. And then we're just gonna make sequence, add back. Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna make sequence. We're gonna add not summon the Engraver because I want to discard for Lurrie to get tracked into rotation. And I'm gonna use the Fiendsmith setup to try to go into White Forest plays here. Here's the Emperor. Yep, they were saving it for sequence. Makes sense. Okay, so not a horrible position we're in, even though our plays got stopped, because we have Maxi and Morian to stop their plays. We already know the face down card is Eternal Galaxy, which doesn't matter, because they don't have an Xyz monster on the field. Card in hand is not... I mean, it could be a starter that maybe needed the normal summon or something randomly. Do we know what it is? Do we know what that last card in hand is, by chance? No, I don't think we do. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so yeah, they're in top deck mode into our Maxi plus Morian. We got Sylvie's for follow-up plays. Normal summon, you can special summon a Photon Delta Wing. Your opponent cannot declare an attack while you control another Photon Delta. We're definitely going to chain Maxi. Probably going to turn one of them face down as well, because it looks like they're trying to go into a rank 4. Third Sylvie, sure, why not? That's brutal. That was a brutal top deck, actually. Battle, swing over here, pass. Hopefully that's what they do. We'll start the next turn by summoning Engraver and trying to get rid of this, see if they have anything. Send a Photon or Galaxy card from your deck to the graveyard, okay? The card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon in defense position. I draw. And then you can they can normal summon. That doesn't really matter here. They can link. I know Galaxy and Tachyon have some amount of link monsters, but I don't remember what they do off the top of my head. Oh, there you go. They're just going into it. Galaxy Eyes Solar Flare. Link summon, you can target a Photon or Galaxy card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Discard, target a special summoned monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay. Ooh, that's not good. They can extend off of that. By tribute summoning, yeah. Oh, that's not ideal. Okay, wait, if that's all they have, I'm not really that concerned about that. You control a Galaxy Eyes monster. Yeah, so they can activate this, but... Okay, so they have one Counter Trap Omni Negate. God, I really need any Speller Trap card here. That's not a Speller Trap. You know what? I don't need any Speller Trap card at all, actually. Let's put back Requiem, right? No, let's put back in the other Engraver. Yes. They're using it right away. Okay, that's fine. Yes! Haha! All right. I knew if I could just stick this normal summon Sylvie, we would be all good. There we go. All right, so yeah, my plan was to go normal summon Sylvie, Sylvie effect, add Tails, then Elzette could send Tails, special summon, Tails could reset, and then I could also add another White Forest card, go into Rasila, send the Tails to add Witch, or even other, I mean, we wouldn't even need to go into Witch the White Forest is. We had lethal. Suffice it to say, we definitely had lethal by that point. So yeah, I'm really glad that I could show what a, like, grindy or, like, not ideal game, how that can also play out here. Because it's, again, you know, White Forest is one of those combo decks where it's like, it's really easy to be impressed by the end board, but it's actually also very impressive, again, playing through difficult situations as well. Okay, so here is my build for Fiendsmith Azamina White Forest. One thing I'll definitely admit up front, and we actually did kind of see in that gameplay a little bit, is that I could probably use some more Speller Trap cards here. It might be worth cutting down, maybe even on stuff like Fuelos, to put in, like, you know, Droplets or some other non-engine Speller Trap cards that can not only be good at stopping my opponent from making plays, but also will, of course, enable my own, right? But overall, I have really been liking this build. While the end board doesn't look quite as flashy as the pure build, like we're not ending on Saint Azamina and Moa Regina and going like all of the, you know, in archetype, you know, boss monsters, we're still able to put up some very impressive boards and arguably even better boards. And we also have more starters in this build. As always, we have Esteller, Elzette, Sylvie, and Witch to act as starters. That's 11 right there. But again, every one of the Fiendsmith cards, including Lurrie, as well as Lacrima, Engravers, and Tract, also act as their own sort of 1 to 1.5 card starters. So we actually have a total of 16. Even though we're on 44 cards, 16 one-card starters lets us stay very consistent. And I actually really like being a fair bit above 40 in this deck, because we have a ton of off-engine, or not off-engine, we have a ton of engine that's not starters, that we're really not trying to draw, right? So for hand traps, we have honestly the usual suite that I've been playing so far since the latest ban list, which is 2 Droll, 2 Maxi, 3 Ashblossom, 3 Fula, 1 Nib, and 3 Imperm makes 14. Like I said, I've been playing that hand trap / non-engine lineup in pretty much every single deck I've been building since the ban list. On top of course, Call By and Cross Out for more non-engine that counters hand traps. The extra deck, as I mentioned earlier in the video during the combo lines, is really tight. Like I said in that one combo line, I can't even really fit SP Little Knight into the extra because everything else we actually need as part of our either our combo lines or as stuff to summon, you know, as a result of our combo lines, right? So we have like the Poplar, the Silvera, the Vengeance. We can't cut any of those. And then yeah, everything else is used in the actual turn 1 plays. So that's the biggest drawback of a build like this, is how tight the extra deck is. You could cut Rextremend and Sprend. Those are fairly optional. The problem is if you do that, then your Fabled, Lurrie / Fiendsmith cards are no longer, you know, combo lines that let you go into a full White Forest board without opening any White Forest card. So that's kind of the trade-off you have to kind of make if you're building Fiendsmith White Forest, is you have to ask yourself, do I want to have more starters in the Fiendsmith cards, or do I want to have more options in the extra deck? If these weren't in the extra deck, I'd probably be playing Chaos Angel, or not Chaos Angel, probably be Juraishin, the level 11 Synchro, and SP Little. You could consider Chaos Angel as well. But yeah, tons of options here. You don't have to play it exactly like I do, but again, I'm playing it this way so that I can maximize my starters and make this deck as consistent as possible. But definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thank you so very much for watching. Super appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. And without further ado, we're going to go straight into our outro so we can thank YouTube members and patrons. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.